At Accesso Care, we create a community of CNAs. If you have any kind of issues, any kind of problems, or you've started working in a nursing home, you come to us and we try to solve it for you.
Here we provide a community where people are going through the same path, going through the same journey, and they can cheer up for each other, support each other.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Zhang. I'm the founder and advisor of Accesso Care.
Hi, my name is Dr. Esther Castillo. I am the CEO at Accesso Care. Accesso Care is a workforce development agency. We help immigrants and refugees prepare to be CNA, which is Certified Nursing Assistants. Our mission is to strengthen the immigrant community, to help them get into the healthcare industry, and also to support care industry to make care better and more inclusive.
I founded Accesso Care about 2 years ago. There's always been a shortage of CNAs in a nursing home for a long time. After the pandemic, it's gotten worse. So every nursing home in America is short of CNAs, and that's when I found the company.
So before joining Accesso Care, I have been in different industries. I first started as a sociology professor in different universities. And after I gave birth to my daughter 8 years ago, I transitioned into nonprofit work. I was working as a programs manager in PCDC, Philadelphia Chinatown Development Corporation. After that, I got recruited into government, and both in the nonprofit and in government work, I focus a lot on racial equity and community building. So those are the two areas that I really focus on. And then this year in February, I transitioned to really focus on building Accesso Care.
I have been in the nursing home industry for about 15 years. How I came to the industry was that I was hired by the company to start a Chinese community, a Chinese program in the nursing home. And what I mean by Chinese program is that basically I created a program that caters to the Chinese community. That we had interpreters, and we had food that caters to the patients that comes to the nursing home. After that, I branched out and became the marketing director for the facility, and I'm actually still working in the industry right now.
In terms of leadership position, before Accesso Care, when I was working at PCDC in Chinatown, I was leading two initiatives. One specifically with regard to the vaccine. I remember when I first joined PCDC, COVID started to become a major issue in our community and just in the society generally. One of the things that PCDC did at that time was to create a vaccine clinic. So I was the manager of that vaccine clinic for close to 2 years. And that vaccine clinic has vaccinated over 6,000 people, and over 90% of them have limited English proficiency. So we're very proud of that. The other initiative that I did while I was at PCDC was the Chinese Immigrant Families Wellness Initiative. Although it has the name Chinese in it, it became very Pan-Asian. It was a program that focuses on developing wellness and mental health in the Asian community. So at that time, we started with a wellness leadership program, mostly talking to the youth, but also partnering with older folks, including parents, and partnering up with the Philadelphia School District to make mental health less of a stigma in our community and more accessible to everybody. So those two were the leadership positions that I had while I was working in Chinatown. And when I was recruited into the city of Philadelphia, I was working in the Office of Community Empowerment and Opportunity. At that time, I was the Director of Racial Equity. It was the first racial equity position that was created in that office. So a lot of the work was really building the ground of how we want to build racial equity and build a stronger connection with the community between what our office did and what the community was doing. Part of the main job is to figure out how to better communicate to the community to make sure that resources such as benefits and any resources that the government is offering become more accessible to people in different communities. I've also done some cross-racial solidarity work within the Asian communities and also between Asian communities with other communities of color. Okay. So yeah, AAPI community in Philadelphia, incredibly diverse. We have many different ethnic groups within Philadelphia. So when I was in Chinatown, I was mostly working with Chinese, but then increasingly, even in a place like Chinatown, is becoming more diverse. Increasingly, we have more Southeast Asians, including Indonesians, including Cambodians, and a lot of the Southeast Asians, of course, are very active in South Philly. So I would say that it's very diverse, and also I'm seeing that there are different generational issues. I was actually just talking to Jimmy and a friend over lunch around this emerging generation of Asian Americans who may have grown up here, maybe first gen Asian Americans, or sometimes we call it second generation immigrants, folks who growing up speaking English, who might not have the language barrier, who might not have, the cultural barriers. They might have a better know-how of how to communicate with other folks who grew up here. And so I also see some, gaps and tension between the generations. I think as a whole, we are trying to figuring out our identities, figuring out how we can better work with each other. I think the future is hopeful because people are very open, at least those that I have come across. Most people said that they wanted to open up to understand what Pan-Asian means and how to work better across communities. And I think both from the older generation and the younger generation, despite the tension, there is a willingness to come together to better the future for everybody.
For 15 years, I've been in the nursing home industry, and that it was never really accepted in the Asian community, sending their parents to nursing homes. I found that it becomes more and more now as the generation of the younger generation becomes, because when the younger generations now, most of them works, and a lot of times they really can't take care of their parents because they have jobs, and they tend to accept the fact that their parents need to go to a nursing home. I think that's one of the reasons why on my end, it was created. The nursing home industry created the Chinese unit and Chinese program.
With regard to mental health in AAPI community, I think the topic of mental health is still very stigmatized. A lot of folks do not want to talk about mental health, maybe because the idea that talking about mental health means somebody's crazy, which is not true. In fact, everybody has mental health, just like how everybody has physical health. I think especially after COVID, the need for mental health resources become more important. I think just like everybody, COVID was very hard for people. I know we live in this so-called post-COVID era, but still people are recovering from COVID, both economically and emotionally. In the AAPI community, I think there are more discussion around mental health and what mental health looks like for everybody. But I would say that there still are not enough resources being channeled into mental health. For a lot of Asian Americans, mental health is linked to our identity. A lot of us are caught in the middle of not being Asian enough or not being American enough, and it feels like there are a lot of tension in between. I would think that for the older generation, it might be easier because American dream is more transparent, or it seems more clear to them. It is mostly through assimilation, like pursuing certain career choices or pursuing financial success. But for the younger generation, I think takes a lot more exploration because American dreams is not so clear. That might be because there have been people who might have become doctors and lawyers and they still don't get the kind of respect or respect and acceptance from American society. So I think at this moment, historical moment, people are really thinking about, okay, what else can I do to gain respect and acceptance into this society? I think the lack of acceptance and inclusion is really doing something detrimental to our mental health, because you can be much healthier when you live in an environment that accepts you and where you can have a community that you belong to.
So I wanted to also talk about the mental health part, actually.